Hello and welcome to the third lockdown, lowdown, hoedown for Hi-Reciprocity. This particular one is about psychogeography. I like psychogeography. So psychogeography is the idea that man influences location and location influences man, all in some bizarre feedback loop. And it enables an artist to pretend to be a scientist and at the very least to pretend to be an archaeologist. And enables us to dig up stories and sift the either from the or. So it's good stuff. This first tale is of a place called Wandlebury. Now, this is one of the spookiest places I know. It's an Iron-Aged hill fort outside of Cambridge, a sort of magical blip in an otherwise mundane, flat fenland landscape. In 1211, Gervase of Tilbury wrote one of the first ever British ghost stories there, by the Black Knight and his black steed. So this is called A Fast Walk in Wandlebury. If you tarry in Wandlebury, they will find you unless you act. They can sense melancholy through the winding wooded track. If there's a quarry in Wandlebury, it's not the hind with a fear wide eye. If there's a hunter, if there's a weapon, beneath the trophy your name lies. And Wandlebury is also known as the Gog Magog Hills, after the biblical giants, and it's been known as such since the 17th century. Then in 1954, T.C. Lethbridge dug up chalk giants that were so controversial that he had to rebury them again. In dry weather, you can still see them. So, if there's a berry in Wandlebury, be sure beneath it lies the thorn. The fruit is sweet to delight hearts. The barbs are fatal if forlorn. So be wary in Wandlebury, or you might hear the giants sleep. You might feel the wind grow hoary, or smell decay upon the steep. And the Black Knight's black steed keeps reappearing throughout history. One of those chalk figures is of Epona, the Romano-Celtic horse goddess. And then, in the 18th century, the Godolphin Arabian, one of the 3 greatest racehorses in the world, is buried there. You can walk fast, but you can't outrun a ghost. So please hurry in Wandlebury. The rural idyll has its charm, but the idle face reprisals from something hidden, bearing harm. So be merry in Wandlebury, don't let your mind fall to despair. They can sense the melancholy, be mild, be mindful, beware. So, from Cambridge to Cornwall. So this next one is about a place called Mount Edgecombe, and I played a couple of gigs there, and I thought I ought to dig a little deeper and see what I could find. And I came across a story I really quite liked. It was about one of the Earls of Edgecombe, and he was a naval man, an admiral who sailed the 7 seas. And a little detail of one of his trips is that on one of his boats, they first analysed that lemon juice was a good cure for scurvy. Meanwhile, back on land, his young wife, Emma Edgecombe, was a narcoleptic who kept falling into dead faints, and it was occasionally buried on the understanding that she was dead. So it's a very Edgar Allan Poe-ish song. This is it's going to involve a little bit of backing, so bear with me a minute and we will do our own backing on this one. So here we go. I sleep deep, I breathe shallow, 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 I sleep deep, I breathe shallow. You pierced my heart with Cupid's arrow. You went to sea, I went to rest, to wait until your footsteps pressed on English soil, and then once more we swore allegiance upon the shore. On Monday you were maiden earl, and promised me the whole wide world. On Tuesday we were holding hands, on Wednesday we gave wedding bands. I sleep deep, I breathe shallow, I sleep deep, I breathe shallow. They thought I'd never make tomorrow. I was pale as the fullest moon. They feared I'd waned away too soon. My husband knew some medical man who checked me up and down again. Then the man who discovered scurvy signed that I had passed on Thursday. On Friday I was laid to rest in my silken wedding dress. I sleep deep, I breathe shallow, I sleep deep, I breathe shallow. My mind still played on Cupid's arrow, my body though locked in the crypt by a sexton deep in debt. When he espied my wedding ring, he thought his woes had taken wing. On Saturday his knife touched my hand to remove it and my wedding band, but the shock awoke me from marble bed. On Sunday he was interred instead. I sleep deep, I breathe shallow, I sleep deep, I breathe shallow, and I still play on Edgecombe Barrow. Okay, so it's not a long way from Cornwall to Dorset, but let me take you there. Let me take you to a place called Blandford Forum. So this is a beautiful Georgian town, and the reason it's a beautiful Georgian town is that anything ugly from before 1731 was burnt to the ground. It's a bit like the Great Fire of London, where they got Christopher Wren to rebuild the city. So for this one, after 1731, the locals got their local architects to rebuild it. And there was a little bit of a twist with that, in the fact that they had to go pleading, because their local architects had a surname, and that surname made everyone a little bit strange. So William and John Bastard had had the abuse of the entire town for all their lives, but now they had revenge, and this is called legitimate architecture. Billy and Johnny had unfortunate starts, cursed for a surname, the shark will be parts, but artists must work for the sake of their art, and the Bastard brothers of Blandford learned their craft. Kit Red had a scheme of great beauty and hope that should have emerged from the ash and the smoke. But Londoners' lives were unlikely to cope with the lines, designs of continental folk. The people spoke. Burn it up and tear it down. To the creators bear the crown. The destroyers cannot bear a candle. Vene vide, ego vandal. Burn it up, tear it down. To the creators bear the crown. The destroyers cannot hold a flame. To those of better extinguished name. Jack was nimble, Jack was thick. Jack sold candles knocked over a stick. Burned down a town and at the end of the wick the burghers called in the bastards. He said, sorry for making fun of your name. We were so cruel but still all the same. We know that you have stone in your veins. We'll make amends for your art, sirs. You are all hot, sirs. Burn it up, tear it down. To the creators bear the crown. The destroyers cannot hold a candle. Vene vide, ego vandal. Burn it up, tear it down. To the creators bear the crown. The destroyers cannot hold a flame. To those of a distinguished name. I don't know much of Baroque or Barrick. Killers, impediments, Palladian tricks. But work like a bastard, work till you're sick. Whilst Jack's a pauper, you're gonna be rich. And there's the twist. Now the town's improved, the vista vasta. An edifice of stone and plaster, from fiery elementals mastered, from apocalypse to alabaster. And there's a plaque forever erected after, hailing one careless tallow chandler and two ingenious bastards. Thanks a lot. That's your lot. Be happy where you travel.